Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's Business Spotlight. I'm your host today, Todd Rodden. I'm a certified executive and business coach. I own Aspire Action Coach based in the Dayton, Ohio area. And if you're new to the Spotlight series, we're glad to have you here and we hope you subscribe so you can receive other great messages from other entrepreneurs as we continue to add to our library of messages from business leaders all across the US and really the globe. Today, I'm excited to have with us Brian Hoppe. Brian is the president and co-founder of Lono Life, based in the Columbus, Ohio area. And Brian will take some time and really share, I think it's really an intriguing and passionate entrepreneurial journey with his business. And so, Brian, maybe just take a minute, introduce yourself, let us know a little bit around what Lono Life does.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Todd, for having me today. This is obviously something I'm really passionate about, both my company, but also my entrepreneurial journey. And so any chance I have to talk about it, I get really excited about. So I really appreciate it. So Lono Life is we're a bone broth company. So we're in the food space. I started the company with a handful of friends about 8 years ago. Really saw a trend of healthy eating and people beginning to really invest in more functional quality of ingredients that they buy. And we were very lucky at the right time, right place. This bone broth craze was taking off at about the same time that we came up with the idea of wanting to get into the space. So we launched it. And over the past 8 years, we've grown to the #1 bone broth on Amazon. We're in about 8,000 grocery stores around the country. And so we're really proud that we found this trend. We know that we're providing a healthy product that consumers can enjoy. And really, it's taking the ride that we started and continuing and saying, okay, let's listen to the market and make sure we continue to innovate and contribute and provide an offering that our consumers and our customers are looking for.
So maybe take a minute. Why bone broth? Right. And then talk through who are your target customers?
Yeah, I'll admit completely, I did not come from a background of bone broth or soups. So this was a opportunity where prior to starting Lono Life, I was a consultant that specialized in the food industry. So I really spent the first 15 years of my career looking at food trends, food companies, and how consumers were making decisions on what they eat. And protein really just became this constant focus and trend that I was seeing in my consulting experience. So the original founder of Lono Life has about 45 years of food science background. And his wife got cancer. And she needed a high protein, easy to digest product that she would eat and want to eat. And so he came up with the concept that is bone broth. We were connected through lifelong friends that I've known all the way back to preschool, knowing that I was in the food consulting space, and reached out to me and I said, I'm seeing a trend in this category. So it really took a lot of research and a lot of listening to what consumers are looking for, coupled with a person that had a passion and a need for this product, really for his wife's survival. And you take those two things combined with the need of an individual and where the consumer market space was going. And that gave us all the boxes we need to check of say, you know what, this bone broth is where we want to go. And so it really was just a combination of consumer insights of what people want and a necessity and a need that we created. And so that's really the beginning of how we got here and how we've collectively come together as a team to build this company.
Definitely get that understanding of a product you really could believe in and you could see it's kind of leading a trend of what's going on in the marketplace. So that's
Yeah.
outstanding.
I think that's big. I mean, so many entrepreneurs, especially in my space, the food space, they may have a product that they believe in and they think it's the best thing in the whole world, but is it just them, or is there really a consumer need and are people interested? And so I think it's really, really important as business leaders and especially entrepreneurs to look at both of those parts of whatever you're doing in your career or your life. Is, okay, are you passionate about what you're doing? But then also, do you have a community? Do you have someone to talk to? Because that age-old adage, well, if a tree falls in the forest, does anyone hear it? Well, if you create something but no one wants it, you're probably gonna have a hard time getting there. And so I think it's really important to have both. What do you want to do, and what are you passionate about? And do other people feel the same way?
You shared, hey, that was about roughly 8 years ago. You made this leap, I think, from more of a corporate career. So tell us what that big step was like. A lot of folks that try to make that transition. So what was it like for you? What did you love about it, and were there any kind of big scaries about it as well?
Oh yeah, it was. I would say the big scaries were probably the starting place. Um, I was nervous to be leaving the comfort of structure of a career that I had always had. Um, but one of the things that I felt personally on my career journey was I'm doing all of this work and thought process to help others and be a part of other businesses or a corporation that I had a small input in. Um, but I wanted to have that experience on my own. So there was, at first, the excitement of freedom. And then I took the jump, and very quickly it goes, well, did I really know what freedom means? Because it's me, and I wake up every day, and what am I going to do today? Because there's no structure. So the biggest uh, fear was the fear of the unknown. Um, Especially in the early years, I didn't know what the future entailed. I didn't know what, we didn't have processes, we didn't have structure. We had to build all that. But what was amazing was the feeling of unlimited flexibility, and that I only have myself to blame or credit on what goes well or what goes bad. So and I'm, knock on wood, very happy that 8 years later we're still around. But I think what really drove me to make this decision in the positive is I only have myself to blame. If we fail, I can't point fingers, I can't blame someone else. It was my failure. But if we succeed, I get to have that experience of the success and know that we got where we are because of my leadership in driving this company. And so that was the excitement, coupled with the risk of the unknown of I have no idea where we're going with this. So I think it's important to be aware of those two sides of the flexibility and the freedom, but also what the flexibility and the freedom comes on a negative, which is the fear of the unknown.
Okay. Yeah, the unknown and that realization that something doesn't get done, the only throat to choke is your own. Right,
Oh yeah.
right. Yeah, it's you. Was this, the thoughts around being an entrepreneur something that came to you during your career, or was this something you've had, going back through your youth?
Um, I think, it's interesting. That's an interesting thought for me. I studied entrepreneurship in college. And so, check the box. I have a degree that says I'm a degree of entrepreneurship. Well, okay, what's that mean? Versus an accounting degree, you leave with, okay, well, uh, tables and balance sheets and income statements. Well, an entrepreneurship degree is only part of that experience. I don't know if you can teach entrepreneurship to create an entrepreneur, or if an entrepreneur exists from the beginning of their life and wants to learn some of the metrics to be able to be successful. I think I have always had that entrepreneurial bug in me. I think all the way back to middle school, I was a paper boy. Well, I don't think about that as seriousness, but I had to go and collect the money myself at 50 cents per door. But I got to do that. I remember in high school, while a lot of my friends had their summer jobs at the pool, the lifeguard or whatever, I was discovered how to make basically videos for people, whether it was wedding videos or special event videos. And so I did that on my own, nights and weekends in between. I'd stay up all night when I should be studying for that math exam to do this work. And then as I went through college and started working, I realized that I always liked that independent creative outlet. So I think I've always had that interest, but I've coupled it with education to give me the confidence that I wasn't going to make the wrong decision. And then just because I have a degree in entrepreneurship, I didn't leave college and immediately say, okay, now I'm an expert on my own. I took some time in the professional world and in consulting to kind of grit my teeth and really learn a lot of different skills in a lot of different industries, and put myself in an environment of opportunities until I felt that I had the right experience, the right community, and the right knowledge of what I wanted to do and why I wanted to do it. So I think it was collective. One thing I really believe in, unless you just wake up one day and you know what you want to do for the rest of your life, and if that's you, I commend you and I'm jealous. But I think for the rest of us, I would say, if you always think about putting yourself in a position of opportunities and always think you never know where it's going to be, but if an opportunity comes, then eventually you're going to keep putting yourself in these opportunistic situations until the right one comes that you just know this is it. And that's how I got into Lono Life, is it just knew this was the one and this was the time.
Hey, thank you for sharing that journey and your passion, right? And even where some of the grassroots where it might have started to come from. Maybe take a minute, kind of build upon that, and describe what your current role is as president, and what type of focus you have with the rest of the organization.
Yeah. So my role as president, as the company grows, the role has evolved. So 8 years ago, having the same title is very different than it is today. But in the end of the day, the title doesn't really matter. What matters is building the vision and building the story that is Lono Life, as one of the leading bone broths in the bone broth industry. So my role day in, day out, especially as we become, I always like to say we're in the teenage phase of business. We're not a startup anymore, but we're certainly not a big corporation with structure. And so my job is to make sure that we have the right people in the right place, and that I'm empowering the experts in areas of the business, whether it's marketing or our accounting team or our sales team, empowering them to feel that they've got the ownership, the flexibility, and the leadership to be able to do their aspect of the business. And so I'm, you could change my title from president to chief cheerleader, because my job day in, day out is really to be the cheerleader of those around me and make sure that they're just as inspired to work for Lono Life as I am to have started it. So that's really my end day in, day out is that. And then, going all the way back to what I said a couple minutes ago about understanding the markets and making sure we know why we're doing something. I think a leader in whatever business you have or you're building needs to always keep your pulse on the finger of what's happening around you, with competitors, with the market, with consumers. So that's where my energy, my brain power, my what keeps you up at night comments, that's where my brain power and energy is really focused all the time is, okay, having the right people in place, and then what's happening around me. And are we listening to our customers, and are we evolving as consumers evolve?
So kind of pulling on that thread there of understanding the marketplace and what consumers want and how they're evolving. Walk us through, what have been some of your keys to growth over that 8 years? Maybe in particular from a marketing perspective, how have you identified those right targets and gone after, those key strategies?
Oh yeah. The first is listening. I think, and trust me, I'm a chatty person, so it's harder for me to say to listen than to execute it in real life. But listening to your customers, when we had 5 customers, our very first 5, why? Who were they? Why did they buy? And then, now 8 years later, we have 50,000 customers. Why? For as many as we can. Why do you buy? And so listening, I think, is the most important part of marketing and building at least a brand, to be able to get it right. The second thing is, we are inundated in today's modern world with information. The old days of TV ads and print ads and radio ads, they don't have the same impact they used to. So as you learn about who the consumers are and you listen, what we've found to be the most successful over the past 8 years is to really make sure that we have a core customer base that believes in our product and leaning in on them to have their word of mouth, their communities to help build us. An example, our bone broth is a single serve stick pack. It's a to-go bone broth. We started the company with the idea that it was going to be for a very strong health benefit. But what we discovered is people in the camping world, outdoor hiking, traveling, really loved it because it was portable and easy to use and high protein and nourishing. And so that's something where it didn't even cross our mind that we would be in this outdoor kind of sporting health environment. But we learned that they were looking for a product like this. And so we've really doubled down, if you will, on that whole segment of consumers that we had no idea and didn't even show up on any of our radars, but it happened and we listened and doubled down on it. So I think you may think you know who your consumers are, but you may not have it completely right, or you may be missing a whole subset of consumers that you don't even know about.
So building upon that now, that's a great intel, great thoughts around listening. So often organizations don't take that time, right? We just kind
Not
of move
easy.
forward, right? It's not easy. It goes against kind of how we're wired sometimes. So what key marketing strategies now work for you? You've built up a base. You said, hey, 50,000 customers. Where now do you put more of your focus?
Absolutely. So for us, it is very much community-based first. So our number one marketing channel that we see successful are online. You use your Instagrams of the world, Facebooks of the world, but but connecting with, I call them micro influencers. So we're not talking the people with 1 million followers. We're talking someone with 15,000 or 10,000. Maybe it's um, a person who is a Zumba coach in a certain city who has a very loyal following, and they believe in our product. How do we partner with that person and get our message to her community on a very authentic way? So that's our most successful marketing channel, is one, being authentic. You have to be genuinely honest with yourself and with your customers of what you're providing, and then work with like-minded people to get your message out. So our number one channel is micro influencers. And then from there, really it's just, the slow, it has taken us 8 years to get here, but the slow building of the word of mouth community that we have, and then pushing that in all other aspects of marketing, whether it's digital, paid media, whether it's, we even do direct mail. I thought for sure people don't read their mail anymore. Well, they do, especially if you get the right community and the right people. And so we'll do a lot of mailers. We do a lot of referral programs. So, hey, friend A, who is a loyal Lono Life customer, we'll give you either free product or a coupon or something if you can go find some more friends. And so really that word of mouth and influencer basing and references have been the biggest thing for us to grow, not organically, but with a true consumer base.
Yeah, and I think I saw some of those micro influencers on your website, so I encourage folks to go, if you want great examples of that, go out and check out the Lono Life website. Thanks for sharing those excellent examples. You mentioned earlier, though, about your role as president and just the importance of team, right? And the right people in the right place, making sure they're empowered. So maybe take a minute, talk about kind of how your team is structured, right? And when you're looking for new talent, what are you looking for?
Yeah. Well, we're a very flat organization. I think probably just by saying I'm chief cheerleader is already a good idea of everyone at our company has a seat at the table and has that feeling of empowerment to be able to speak up in anything that they want to say or have an opinion on in the business. I think that's really important, is building that trust in that environment where everyone feels that they've got a seat at the table. When we first started, I think it's very natural to feel like if you're the entrepreneur, you're the CEO or president or leader, you need to be the expert and the boss at everything and dictate what needs to be done. It's funny, the more I've done this, the more I've realized I don't always know all the answers. In fact, more often than not, I probably don't know the answer in the first place. And it's better to work with people that are very specialized in that topic. So that's my number one focus on the team that we have. And in hiring people, that's where I really focus on, would this person be a good fit for the journey that we're doing? I think, you can teach Excel to someone, you can teach procurement, you can teach bits and pieces of accounting, you can teach how you want sales to be, but you can't necessarily teach the like-mindedness, the mindset, the values that someone has. And so I really focus, actually, that is the first thing I focus on, are the values of what someone has as an individual, and why are they talking to me and to Lono Life? Why do they want to be a part of a growing bone broth company. And if they understand the entrepreneurial vision that we're on, then they're going to be a good fit. And so we're slow to hire, but we're very strategic that once we hire someone, they're in a role that's going to give them kind of an equal opportunity across all aspects of the business to be a part of helping and using their own individual skill sets to grow the business with us.
So when you're having that interview, or you're recruiting somebody, what are the telling signs that says, hey, they're going to be a good fit, right? The values aligned, they're in sync with the mission.
So the biggest one is I try to explain the concept of you're joining an entrepreneurial business. And so many people say, oh, well, that's exactly what I want. I want to be entrepreneurial and I want to be a part of this. And I say, okay, wait, let me take a step back. Let me redefine what I'm trying to tell you. Joining a company like this means you are going to have very expansive opportunity, but the structure may not be in place. You're not going to come in and have a job description on day one and expect that you're going to get your performance reviews and your weekly check-ins in a structure. So just as I had to be uncomfortable with the unknown, you need to be aware that the unknown means we can grow wherever that we want, but sometimes we may not have the answer up front. And that's the big thing where I can tell pretty quickly someone who wants to be a part of a business like me because they get the open-ended opportunity they have versus the person who hears the word entrepreneurial environment and thinks, oh, I want to be a part of this small company without understanding. That means there's a lot of flexibility. Flexibility comes with good and bad. And so really just hitting that flexibility and the comfort of the unknown and asking a lot of questions around the unknown.
So you're 8 years in, you've had tremendous growth, it sounds like. So what's your dream? What do you see 3-5 years down the road?
This is always the answer to this has changed in the whole 8 years. I think when we first got on this journey, I probably had what many aspiring entrepreneurs have, which is, well, I'm going to start this company and it's going to be the largest company in the world in the soup business. And I'm going to exit and go live on the beach and have a great life. And I'll be retired at 35 and check the box. That's not a good reason to go into entrepreneurship. Now, 8 years in, it's interesting because I have invested so much of my time in building this company. And so, you get very tied to what you do. So I think for me, the next 3 to 5 years, I want to remain a leader in the bone broth category. We've been very lucky to maintain our #1 spot on Amazon for years. We are expanding quickly into your brick and mortar groceries of the world, the Krogers, the Targets, the Costcos. So as we continue to expand, I think the next 3 to 5 years for me is how do we continue to drive the bone broth that we have clearly said we're going to be a leader in, and then expand into other categories. I think the idea of me growing and exiting Lono Life as fast as I possibly can isn't as attractive anymore. Now it's, let's use the platform of the brand, and what else can we do, and where else can we go? And so that's my 3 to 5 years is using our expertise of the 8 years we've built, and then finding other areas under the umbrella to keep driving the company. So in other words, I don't want to do anything. I want to keep growing and running it because I've had the time of my life.
That's fabulous. I mean, that's inspiring right there, right? It's easy to get fixated on, cashing that big check, selling the business, but we see somebody who's, a firm believer in the product or service they have, well connected to their team. They see more opportunity. They're having fun, right? That's inspiring. So,
Yeah,
so
I mean, that's to your point. Um, you know, I love what I do, and the every bit of the business is what makes me so excited. Um, and so why would I want to stop if I'm having so much fun? And that's why I think that 3 to 5 year question is always a unique one, because I wouldn't have said that when I first started, but I can say that now, that my job is to keep growing, building people around me, and riding this experience because I'm enjoying every minute of it.
So, Brian, before we hit our last question here today, what are the best ways for folks to stay connected with Lono Life, to follow what you and the team have going on?
Absolutely. Well, so our website, lonolife.com, is the best way to really get to know the company, our products, what we do. There's an opportunity to sign up for our email programs. So if you just go, literally, if you go to the website, you'll get a prompt to sign up for an email. In those emails, we talk about the business, health of the benefits of bone broth, exciting news about the company, the people, etc. So really, our website, lonolife.com, signing up for our email subscription, or social media, LinkedIn, or sorry about that, Instagram, Facebook, Lonolife would be our handles. Best way to really keep in touch. Since I was telling you, we're a pretty small and equal opportunity companies. So there's a pretty good chance if you reach out to one of those channels and you want to get a hold of me, it'll make its way to my desk. I think that the head of marketing is a few feet from me, and we can get access to this. So that's the best way, really, just reach out.
All right. So as we wrap here today, Brian, what are you most inspired by today?
I think I'm most inspired by the um, opportunity to create rewarding experiences for those around me. Um, one of the things that I hear all the time is, well, how do you separate work-life balance? Something I say that it'll make people cringe sometimes, but I say, you know what? I work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I play 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's all the same to me. And when I can see that in other people and see how passionate they are for what they're doing, not just Lono Life, but in their own ventures or lives, that's the most inspiring thing to me, and what I think gives me the passion to do what I do is watching the excitement that I have, and sharing that, and seeing the excitement that other people have too, and anything that they do.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Brian. You could feel that in some of your prior answers as well, just the passion for what you do, the vision you see for the business and your team. So I want to thank you for taking the time out to share your entrepreneurial journey and more about Lono Life here with us. For our viewers, again, thanks for joining us. Encourage you to like what you heard here today of Brian's story, but also, again, subscribe to the channel so you'll receive future drops from other business leaders in the future. So again, thank you all. Thank you, Brian. Encourage folks to follow Lono Life on their website as well as on Facebook and Instagram. And I hope you all have a terrific day.
Thank you.